When you hear the word DevOps, I'm sure that the first thing that comes to your mind is the word CI/CD or automation, right? Well, that is very normal and expected because CI/CD by itself is a very critical pillar in every DevOps practice. Technically, without it, you wouldn't even have a DevOps practice. And the role of CI, which is continuous integration, is to get you ready for the CD stage, which is continuous delivery / continuous deployment stage. This is by taking whatever changes you have done to your application and to your code and basically making them ready to be deployed to whatever platform later on that you intend to deploy that application to. In this video, I will show you how to use Google Cloud Build to set up a basic pipeline to take your application, build it into a Docker or container image, and then store it into Google Artifact Registry to be used in the CD stage later on. So how do you think I can make this small Python application ready for deployments or Kubernetes or Cloud Run or App Engine or just anywhere else? Well, before I show you that, I would love if you like the video, subscribe and enable the alerts, or just like the video to help get it more visible across YouTube. Okay, so as I have mentioned in the introduction, having your application's artifacts, these are the binary files, outputs, or whatever is required to make your application work and run. Having these ready for deployment is the first step towards automated deployment pipelines and activities. In this case, I want to deploy to GKE, Google Kubernetes Engine in GCP, but honestly at this stage, I'm not even close to discuss this point and this step yet. What will happen now is I will build a Docker image in this project. Basically, I will set up the pipeline in this project that will connect to this GitHub repo. I will connect to that repo and then build the container image and store it in the artifact registry. So if you're familiar with Google Container Registry, since I'm talking about artifact registry, or what's referred everywhere as GCR or GCR.io, then artifact registry is basically the same as GCR, but with more features and more supported types than just Docker or container images. And GCR is going to be only maintained for critical updates. And at some point, basically Artifact Registry is the recommended repo to store the images now. And at some point, I wouldn't be surprised even to see Artifact Registry the way to store container images always, and GCR just going away. Now, aside from this side note, to do this, building the Docker image and store it in Artifact Registry, I will have to go through a series of steps. It's not much to do, but I thought maybe it's a good idea to put them in a small list to ensure everything is straightforward. So my first step here is ensuring my application is stateless in its current state. What I mean by this is, if you look at the small piece of code that I call application here, you will see some stuff that refer to environment variables, some values and all of that. The point is, I need to make sure that this application does not have any hard-coded values that are going to be, or to cause the application to break when I change the environments. The second point is I need to prepare the Dockerfile for my deployment. And this can be language or application specific, but in the general idea is you will need to add commands to install the required libraries and do whatever copy or add operations required and perform any additional tasks on the target Docker image file system or contents. The third step here is that I need to ensure that I have a proper trigger to use for the cloud build pipeline. Again, in my case, I will use this GitHub repo to connect it to Cloud Source Repos, and then from Cloud Source Repos, I will create, or I will build the trigger to do the pipeline. In your case, you might want to host everything directly in Cloud Source Repos, but they are not as flexible as doing it on GitHub or GitLab or any other platform, but still it's an option. I like to use Cloud Source Repos as the last layer or the layer that will trigger the cloud build job and pipeline. The next step here is I need to ensure that I have a proper artifact registry repository set up, which is something I haven't done yet on this project. So I can't click. So yeah, I will do it on this project. Finally, I will set up the cloud build pipeline itself to take the changes and create the container image. This will involve doing the cloudbuild.yaml as well. So this is my task list. This is my plan. And let me do something very quick here, which is bringing another tab for the GitHub into this main window. So this is the repo that I have. And again, the first step here is to review my code and ensure there is nothing static in it. Make sure that everything is stateless, everything is as dynamic as possible, as generic as possible. So again, this is a very simple and a very small application that basically does nothing. And I only have the main.py application here, or file. If I go inside and without turning this into a development training, again, I just need to ensure that whatever variable here is going to be dynamically assigned a value. In this case, I'm going to use, or I'm already using the environment variables here. And again, in Python, not going to talk about development stuff, but there are many ways to do this. One of the easiest is to do it in the environment variables in the system, then refer to them using the os.environ or get. I think get something here. Yeah, well, whatever. And yeah, it's there. And the other point is using a library called python-.env. This is where you can use a .env file similar to what we have in Laravel and PHP and stuff like that. Basically, you can use the same concept and the same syntax. But then in this case, I'm just going to use the OS environment variables directly. So here I only have two variables. There is something I created just to simulate it. And there is another one for the port, and this is going to come from the Docker image, but it's going to have a value from the environment variable. I will show you how this application will work in a moment, but this is what I needed to do in order to make this application stateless. In your case, in real life cases and scenarios, it might be a lot of work more than just this. It can be hundreds of lines of code you have to go through. It can be a lot of changes you might need to do. But again, the point is just make sure that nothing is hard-coded, nothing is static. Everything should change regardless of the platform that's running your application. Now, enough of this. The next step here is looking at my Docker file, and I need to prepare my Docker file, obviously. And I think it's fair to say that the single important requirement to do in all of this has nothing to do with Google Cloud or Google Cloud Build. And basically, this is another example of how DevOps is just an open concept that works with any platform, anywhere, anytime. So in order to build the Docker image, of course, you need a Docker file. This is my Docker file here. And again, once more, this is application/user case or use case specific. It will greatly vary from one application, from one developer, from one organization to another, depending on a lot of factors, such as what are the libraries that are being used, what is the application architecture. Just to keep it simple, I'm using like 3 libraries that are found in the requirements.txt file. I will show you that file in a moment. And this is my file. I'm using Python 3.9. I'm using the standard large image, and I have actually put a note here. I can maybe optimize it to use a smaller image, and this is where I'm copying my application files inside that image. This is where I'm installing the requirements, and this is where I'm invoking the application. Nothing special, nothing out of this world for this specific use case. Again, this is very basic. It's the absolute very basic of basics. So in your case, you might get more complex stuff than what you're seeing in here. Now, talking about requirements.txt, this is the requirements.txt. Again, just 3 libraries. Flask because this is a web application, GUnicorn because I want to serve the application, MySQL connector Python is because I just want to show you how it feels to have some good number of libraries and how to use these libraries in application that you want to deploy in whatever, GKE, whatever. So this is the initial stuff that I have. Again, just giving you a quick look on the main.py. This is where I'm using that MySQL connector, but I'm not doing anything with it. Just calling that so that it can be a dependency in the application. If that library was not included in the requirements.txt file, then the application will crash. It will not work when I deploy it. Actually, the whole build process will not work. Now, the next step that I have to do here is I need to set up Cloud Source Repositories. As mentioned, that will be my trigger layer to invoke the cloud build job, which will sync from this GitHub. So this will happen from GCP, obviously. And this is the project that I'm going to be using again. And I currently don't have anything in this project. So if I go to source repositories, you will find it's empty. There is nothing in here. So it's a good chance to do it with you and you can see how it's done from scratch. However, this is probably something very fast. So you go to add repository here and you choose one of two options. Create a new repo if you want to host everything directly here, or if you want to connect external repo, which what I want to do. So you go to connect external repository and then you click continue. For some reason, it wants to ask you for the project. I mean, I would expect it to just cache the project name, but anyways. So my project ID is, I think it's this one. Yeah. Public demo, cloud build, artifact registry. And the Git provider is going to be GitHub. And I'm already signed in the other tab, so it won't ask me to sign in. It will take me immediately to pick the repository that I want to use and sync to Cloud Source Repos. So that one is, yeah, this is the one. So this is the one that I need to sync from. And I don't think I need to do anything else here. Yep, that's it. So I will click connect selected repository. Now, I'm not sure why sometimes it does not display the main branch for me, but I will just show you now what is going to happen once this is done. So it's going to connect the repo and it will replicate for the first time from that repo, and then it will take me to that Cloud Source repo page where everything is replicated and ready to be used. This is the confirmation that the repo is connected. So now, yeah, I don't know why sometimes it shows me like this. I need to go to this head here and go to branch and then select main. This is how you will see all of the stuff that are in that repo. And you see the same events and the same descriptions that happened from the source GitHub repo. So this is my third step, which is connecting the source repo into the, or connecting from GitHub into this, setting up the trigger, whatever. Yeah. Now, the next step here is to enable and set up the artifact registry. And this is found in this menu. And just because I like scrolling, I will do it in front of you now. So artifact registry is found a little bit at the bottom here. You will see again, container registry is still there. It's still going to be there. I mean, at some point, again, I would expect it to disappear, but for now, it's still there. The recommended approach now is to use artifact registry because it has a lot of options. It has a lot of flexibilities and all of that. So I'm going to stick with artifact registry. And also all of the examples that you will see by Google, they are all now using artifact registry. It's been some good amount of time now where they kept using container registry for their examples, although they would recommend to use artifact registry. So it was good seeing the examples are all updated to artifact registry, which is good. So going to artifact registry, I think it will ask to enable the API, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so enable the API. Will take some time to be enabled, but whatever. Okay, so this is the artifact registry has been enabled. Now I'm leaving this thing to another video because it's something interesting. I'm not going to click this one now, so I'm just keeping it like that. I need to create a new repo. And again, because I mentioned artifact registry does support a lot of stuff, then you choose what type of things you want to store here. So it's a Docker repo here. So I'm going to type the name as, I don't know, well, Python dash, once I type Python properly. Python repo, yeah, well, very generic, I'm not sure. Now, region is, again, you choose whatever region. I'm going to keep everything in US Central 1 because it's cheaper. And I'm going to keep it as regional, not multi-regional. And that's it. Like, this is all what I need to do to create the repo. Now, once it's created, there is another thing that I need to do, which will take me to Cloud Build, because by default, Cloud Build will not have the permissions to write to this repo. Basically, read and write. So I need to grant both permissions. Or actually, for now, let me just talk about writing. Again, keeping the read into a separate topic. Lots of teasers here, I think. So this is the repo is ready. But before talking about Cloud Build and taking you there, you will need to use this repository in the configuration, right? I mean, at some point when I go to Cloud Build, when I create my pipeline, I need to refer to this repository. So if you're familiar with GCR, you might be familiar with the URL combination for that. That is like gcr.io/ the project name / repo name and all of that. So it's a little bit similar here. And you will find it actually here, which is a little bit easier than before. So this is the combination for the URL. If you want to just copy this, you replace this with slashes and then add a final one with whatever image name here, and that's it. And you will see how easy it is now to use it and refer to it in Cloud Build. Now, I need to grant Cloud Build the permission to write to this repository. So I need to go to Cloud Build. Again, scrolling down while I can do it in the search. Well, surprisingly, it's being fast for me now. I can find it very fast. Anyways. So Cloud Build, I think I need to enable it as well because it's not enabled. I'm just doing everything from scratch with you in this project. Enabling that. Okay, I think it's enabled, but for some reason the page did not refresh. So let me see it now. Yep. Again, going back to Cloud Build, please open. So what I need to grant here is I need to go to settings and I need to copy this service account. So yeah, this is the service account. I need to go to I am an admin. And in I am an admin, I need to grant access for that service account. So this is the service account. And the role that I need to use is the Artifact Registry Writer. Well, it's not showing here. Let me show you the menu here. So Artifact Registry is in the, this is done. And Artifact Registry Writer. This is the minimum required permission for now. Again, I will expand on this in next videos because there are some good and awesome stuff that you can do here. So I will need to save. And I think the artifact registry is ready now to be used. My next step will be to go to Cloud Build and ensure that I can, or start creating my trigger, actually, my pipeline. So again, regardless where is the region for this Cloud Build, I like just to keep it global. You know, I don't know why. It's what I like. I need to go to triggers. And then I will create a new trigger. This trigger will be, again, for the CI only. So it's going to build images. It's not going to deploy. So Python image build. You can do whatever name that you want. I think it's a good name for the first time in my life. And the event here is push to branch. and the source is going to be first generation because I want to use Cloud Source Repos. And this is the one that I connected to my Cloud Source repo. And it's going to take the name of main, the branch name, I mean. And it comes for the interesting part again, the configuration. How do I want to handle this pipeline, this trigger? So I want to use the cloud build configuration file, and that is going to be inside the repo, and the file name will be cloudbuild.yaml. I don't have it yet, but I will be creating this now. Let me copy the name. And I think that's it. There is no more settings or changes we need to do here. So I'll just click create. This is the configuration for my pipeline. Again, it will not work now because there is no cloud build yet. It will be created now, but that's the way to set up the pipeline. Okay, now talking about cloudbuild.yaml. Again, it's not there. We need to build it and all. So I will put it in the repo, GitHub repository. And again, this will serve two things. First of all, I will get to create that missing file. And then once I save it, it will push to the repo because I'm saving the file. Then because I did a commit and I did a change on this repo, it will sync to Cloud Source Repos, and then it will trigger the cloud build, which will see the new cloudbuild.yaml file and execute the content inside it. So it's a way for me to also test. So like merging the testing and completing the pipeline setup. So again, yeah, adding file here, create a new file. Again, it's just one file, so I would prefer to do it from the web interface. And the content for cloudbuild.yaml, it's very simple and straightforward, honestly, in this case. It's just these few lines of code. Just to explain what are these commands are, and I just did copy paste, so it came into 2 lines. So there are 2 steps in here. First of all, I'm using Docker Builder to build the image. And that's going to use the included Docker file because it's there. Once the build is done, then I'm going to push it to the artifact registry here. So this is the URL for the artifact registry. And again, just to see how easy it is, if I duplicate this one, and if I go to artifact registry, where is that? It's a little bit down. So artifact registry, then go into the repository, which is python-repo. So you will see the similarities in the URL here. We have US Central 1 Docker package. This is the one, .dev. Then we have the project name, which is this one. Then we have the repo name, which is this one. And then this is the image that I want to create in the repository here. Once this job is done, you will see an image called my app with the SHA, the build SHA here, as the tag of the image. This is my cloudbuild.yaml. So I'm going to copy this and go back to the GitHub. Paste, and I think I need to also, yeah, it's already there because I've done it before. So this is the cloudbuild.yaml, and I need to save the changes. Yeah, that's it. Now, again, I created the cloudbuild.yaml. I triggered a change. So I go to the cloudbuild triggers or history page. You should see something in progress now. And if you want to track the progress of what's going on, just keep in mind, I haven't tested this before, so it is possible some errors to appear in the build process. If such error came, I'm going to check them out and see what's going on, but hopefully everything is very simple and very basic. We're not going to get any errors or anything. It's retrieving the base image for Python 3.9 now, and yeah, I think it's done. I think that's it. It's installing the dependencies. It's pushing now. Surprisingly, everything worked from the first try. I'm getting good at this. Yeah, it's done. No errors or anything. This is awesome. Okay, so yeah, let's go to Artifact Registry and see what we have now. This is the repo now. It's empty. Once I refresh, I should see stuff inside it, which is my application. And this is the image. If I go inside it, you would see that first build or that hash thing or SHA. This is the tag that I have on this image. That's it. You have seen it's really easy and straightforward to set up a pipeline to store Docker images in Google Artifact Registry. Again, this is your first step toward building a fully automated and functional pipeline to build and deploy any application basically to anywhere. The next step after this is to actually deploy the image, and this can be done using cloudbuild again, because cloudbuild is very flexible, or a more specialized tool, which is cloud deploy, since we're talking about GCP, or basically any other tool that can do CD as form of CI/CD. In the next video, I will talk about some optimization opportunities that we can do on this pipeline here, and also stuff that we can do in this repo to make sure things are secure and following some best practices and stuff like that. And also I will show you how you can introduce some workflows here, some approvals and stuff like that. So this pipeline will not be executed until somebody comes in and approve the execution of this pipeline. So finally, if you have any questions or any comments about this video or any other videos, please don't hesitate to post anything in the comments section. Also, please don't forget to like the video so that it can be more visible in YouTube. And also, if you liked it and if you like the content, why you don't consider subscribing to the channel and enable the alerts so that you can get notified whenever I put any new content. And also, if you are familiar with Google Workspace, if you're looking for some resources and some courses and training to get better in managing Workspace, then I have a fully featured, very long and very detailed course about Google Workspace administration and management on Udemy. It covers a lot of topics such as users and groups management, device management, Google Vault, and data security and compliance as well. You can get it from the link below in the video description at a discounted price. Once you do that, you will get it for lifetime with constant updates and changes to the content to keep it up to date. Now, thanks once more for watching. Until I see you in the next video, wherever you are, stay safe and have a great time.